we weren't driving this number up. So, did I talk about this? So, just before the election, this was the spread they were working on. So just before the election, nobody was talking about how great the war in Iraq was. Nobody was talking about what, they were all saying, oh, we shouldn't have gone in there, but we can't get out because there'll be a revolution, we can't, a civil war, it's terrible we're there, but we can't get out because we have to honor the troops by doing a victory. Oh, it's terrible we're there, but we can't get out because if we get out, then we'll empower the Al-Qaeda, et cetera, same old routine. So they were working the split, and we need to drive this number up. And we, the peace movement, we were still talking this line. We were still talking this line. We weren't talking this line. And that's a problem. But see, you see what that does is suddenly you say, oh, we're in here and we need to drive this move thing up. I need to change my story. I need to change my message. And that's what's is in power. Yes?
So I may be jumping ahead here, but because you're in the middle of giving us the spread, you know, of this movement here, but of this paradigm. But I mean, so who is giving an intelligent and well-researched alternative? You know, I mean, I don't know enough about the Afghanistan situation to be able to construct for myself what the U.S. foreign policy should do and what they can do, and I'm sure that there have been journalists and historians hard at work at that, and their views and their conclusions have not been widely aired. But I mean, feed me that information if you got it.
Yeah, I can't think of what blogs. Blogs are great places because a lot of our information has to come from a lot of the alternative information is coming from the web. Mm-hmm. Because incidentally, people say, well, the established media is not reporting our story. And I said, why do you think the established media is not part of the establishment? Yeah. Doesn't mean we can't back at them, it doesn't mean we can't do it, but I mean, they always have been. Remember Smedley Butler, when he was trying to avoid World War I, he said our biggest obstacle is the media, because they won't report it. And incidentally, who makes a whole lot of money in wartime? The media.
The government's for makers.
Governments make them a lot of people, but the media makes a whole lot of money during war. So of course they like war. I went over this. Does that help us figure out sort of where we are?
You sidestepped my question.
Oh, I sidestepped. Go to the blogs. That's the best place to find information. And I don't think that there is a clear example. I think we're very deficient in this.
Right.
I think we're very deficient not only in talking about it, but in getting the information out there. Yes?
I'm encouraged at this point because on the right wing of the political spectrum, there's a lot of hostility to this war as well as the progressive side. So that's even when George Will, the conservative columnist, comes out against this war, that shows where it's at, as far as there is a bipartisan thing opposed to this.
And that didn't happen because the warmongers thought they'd made enough money. That happened because you people right here and the peace movement kept pushing the American public. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's a great illustration during Vietnam. We had the GI resistance. Well, and many of us feel the GI resistance is really what stopped the war. In many ways it did. On the other hand, what kept the government from just trying all the people who were GI resistors for treason? Public opinion. If the American public had been four square against the war, they could have tried them all for treason and hung them. But they couldn't because the American public. So when the public opinion changed, that's made room for the GI resistors. The GI resistors came back and talked. Now the public opinion changed, the media changed. You look at what happened in the media during the Vietnam War. The media wasn't opposed to the war to start with, they were for the war. When the public opinion got way up here, now the media starts falling behind. So the media starts telling the stories of the GI resistors, and the public changes more. So it's like one of those things. And I'm sorry, your point was supposed to tie into that.
We were talking about the basis, the lower line there but it's not strictly we progressives trying to hold the banner. It's also the other side of the political spectrum that also, which enhances this opposition, but it complicates it as well, you know. There's certain in the right wing that wanna follow generals' law them to dictate our foreign policy. While there's others that realize that this is a no-win situation, you know.
Yeah. Guys, something else, Andy's?
Yeah, I guess this is a middle curve comment. I think public opinion began to be swayed in Iraq when the public realized that we were sold a bill of goods. It wasn't for this, it wasn't for that, it wasn't for, you know, it was for oil, it was for military bases, for all those things. I don't think we have that consciousness in Afghanistan. Why are we there? Well, there's still this myth about, well, if we could get Osama bin Laden and kill a few terrorists, we're gonna promote the cause of peace. Well, that's a crock. I mean, every time you see a predator go off and kill 50 civilians, you've created 500 more terrorists. I don't think that's come to consciousness yet.
And that's our job.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you about Afghanistan and Al-Qaeda. You know, if you wanna take Al-Qaeda and put them in a closet, that closet would be Afghanistan. I mean, if there's one place in the world where you can put them where they can't do anything, it's Afghanistan. But that's another story. We were talking about different people and bringing and the fact how in Afghanistan many of the if I can say it, the right is coming over to is supporting the process also. This is what we call a spectrum of allies, and this is. I'm trying to turn out like to use for this, but I can't think of the other. So this is us. Can I call us the left? This is the right. These are the firm supporters. Firm supporters are right, firm supporters are right. I'm right down here. You know, it's like when we get down in a demonstration, I start talking to somebody from the Gathering of the Evils. They're not gonna change my mind. I'm not gonna suddenly say, oh my God, I've been wrong all this time, push it straight into war, makes sense. And I'm not gonna change their mind. It's just not gonna happen. Because we're firm supporters, we've formed our opinion, it's solid. These are these are basically our supporters. These I'll call our armchair supporters. These are the fence sitters. These are their armchair supporters. Okay? Now, this is a useful tool for a variety of reasons. One is if you're trying to work within your group, spend time trying to figure out who these people are. Specifically to define them. Because that way you can begin to figure out your targets. But for here, what we need to know is, we don't have to get these dudes. If we can get the fence sitters to join here, that's huge. Sometimes what happens is the split comes down here during desegregation. The split came down here, and all the supporters, these guys got left out in the boondocks. The police who'd been supporters moved up in here, and these guys became real radicals. So the point being is, the further down here you get, the harder they are to get, and but you don't have to get everybody. And certainly, some of the people who, during the Iraq War, were way over here, during the Afghan War were up in here. As we figure out sort of where we are and kind of where we're trying to go, one thing to look at down here is this graph, which is there's four roles in this model. There's four roles active display. These are not people; they're roles they play. Reformer role, rebel role, citizen role, change agent role. And I want to emphasize again: people look at them and they start thinking, "Well, I'm a such and such." And if we're good activists, we play all four roles depending on what's needed. So, for example, this ziggity, this line is rebel, and during this stage, the takeoff stage, is when they are most important because we're trying to get that message out there. In order to get the message out there, we have to do things which are not within the cultural norm. you know, demonstrations, rallies, that kind of thing, are not within the cultural norm, because we're trying to get attention. But if we